Hi, I'm Angie Veman, and welcome to Totally Clutch. This is the podcast for women like you to find ways to simplify your business and personal life. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe so you're notified when a new episode is posted. All right, welcome back to another episode of Totally Clutch. This is the Clutch Businesses podcast and vlog. And I always start out with the hard-hitting questions, and they're always tailored to the conversations that we're about to have. And today I want to ask, how many people in your business life, or maybe even in your personal life, are waiting on you for something right now? This is something that hits close to home for me the last couple of weeks. I feel like I have been, kind of holding up a lot of things. And I'm wondering, if you're feeling that at all and how often you feel that in your business. And I also wonder, how many things are sitting on your desk? How many things are in your inbox that somebody is waiting for you to look at? And, how many deadlines have you and your team kind of blown through because you just can't get everybody the answers, you can't get everybody the resources, you can't get everybody the information that they're looking for quickly enough to meet those deadlines, to make those things happen with everything else that you have on your plate. So the one thing that I want to say is, honey, do you know that you might be the bottleneck that's holding your business back? It's a hard reality. It's a hard truth, but it might be it. So as much as we want to kind of look to our teams for not getting things done, sometimes it is us that is the problem. It is us that is causing those issues. So with that, I want to welcome to the show our special guest, Selina, who is a delegation expert. So she works with all types of organizations. She works with all types of business owners and helps them get their delegation in order. So welcome to the show.
Hello, I'm excited to be here with you today.
Yeah, I'm super pumped. This is, I don't know if I did it justice in that introduction, but this is such an important topic and it's such a challenging thing. And so I'm so excited to be able to kind of glean from your insights and be able to share your insights with those that are listening. So welcome.
Yeah, I love everything about delegation. It's something that's come natural to me. It's a born gift that I've had, that I've noticed over the years. And I just love helping entrepreneurs to free their time and just get rid of that overwhelm and the chaos.
Yeah. Yeah. So can you share with us a little bit about your background, kind of how you found your way to this work?
Yeah, I'm very super organized and very structured. So that's been a natural flair to me from very young. I'm always organizing things in the house. I'm always organizing people's personal stuff. I'm always the go-to person for fixing something. So it's been a natural progression for me always to, here's the problem, how can we fix the solution? I've worked with many different business owners, from small family-run businesses to multi-million-dollar companies. And they've all got the similar issues that play in mind, that they are trying to up-level their business. They're trying to take it to the next level. And to do that, they need that team with them to get them there, that solid team. So I've seen what's worked successfully within businesses and what's the pieces that have been missing, to be able to identify those from a bird's eye view, to then eliminate those, take away any leaks with money, time, energy, and then just focus on building that high empowered team to help you to grow and scale the business forward. So it's something that has progressed over the last 18 years, and I've really owned it over the last 5 years.
That's incredible. Yeah. And I love that you touch on kind of all of the things that can open up for people as a result of this, because it really does. I mean, I've seen this with my clients. I see it more with like project-based clients that I'm working with, where, holding that information back, they've invested a lot of money in something, and they're hoping, in the project that we're working on, and they're hoping that project will create some returns for them, when it's all put together. And so every day, every minute not every minute, this is not life or death, but every day, every week that goes by that the information is is being held back, or not held back, but that isn't available to complete the project, is money that they're just leaving on the table. Really, it is unfortunate, but and it also makes sense. Like, that's the one caveat that I want to put on the top of really every conversation that we have on Totally Clutch, is that it makes sense why we're here. It totally makes sense why those things are happening. And like, here's the tools, here's what you need in order to kind of, just like you said, up level, take it to the next place and just refine things. So thank you for that. And then I guess my next question is, like, what do people get wrong about delegating? Like, what is it, a mindset thing? Is it the execution of it? Maybe a combination of all of those things?
Yeah, I think it's a combination of multiple things, but the key identifier that I see happening, reoccurring with a lot of clients that we work with, is that they are very reactive to needing help. They're in a big storm of things chaotic. There's a lot of issues happening, or they have a launch coming up and they need somebody right now, today, to be in their business. So they go off and hire the first person that comes to them, which is a real big no-no. If you've seen those posts where someone says, I need a virtual assistant, and then you get a whole thread of 80 comments, and then they're like, well, how can you sift through 80 comments? But also, it's been an intention about who do you need on your business. So often what happens is we just think we need this person, but we actually haven't thought about what the business needs. What are the goals now, but what are the goals in 3 months, 6 months time, to make sure that you're hiring somebody that you can retain and that can help bring a return of investment into the business. So one of the mistakes is hiring the wrong person, hiring fast, hiring the wrong person, and then not having the time and capacity to onboard them correctly to then delegate. So that's why the delegation piece often goes wrong, is because you haven't brought in the right person to the business and you don't have the time to work with them or give them the tools and resources they need. So that's a recurring cycle of what I call the hiring and firing, which often happens in businesses.
Oh, it's so true. You articulated that in a way that I haven't really thought about before, that, or it brought clarity to something that I've thought for a long time and have been, maybe a little shamelessly vocal about, that, there's this, especially I think in the online community or the online business world, that there's like VAs are the first step, the first place that everybody looks for everything. And oftentimes having a VA is helpful and it serves a purpose, but oftentimes it is not the person that somebody is looking for. In fact, having a VA, they can do a lot of things. They are very capable and very helpful, but the amount of management that it takes sometimes is not really serving to a business owner at certain times. And I don't mean to like hone in on that, but the reason that I bring it up is because that seems like the most obvious and the very first place that everybody goes. And I often, sometimes, I'm like, yes, that makes perfect sense. But most of the time I'm like, is that really what you're looking for right now? Is that really going to solve the problem? And I love that the way that you touched on the immediacy, that like they need somebody right now, because it does prevent that empowerment and kind of autonomy to exist in the folks that that you're bringing on board, and it really just makes it a lot more stressful in a lot of ways.
It does, and we need to think about it as like when you are in your business, when you're selling your services or your product, you may have a sales page or you may promote it in a certain way, and you're very intentional about what this product is, what it's going to do for you. Buy this from me if you need X, Y, and Z. You're not the right customer if X, Y, and Z. So the same way that we advertise and attract the right clients to our business, we need to do the same by attracting the right team members who are aligned with the business, understand what it is doing, where it's trying to go, but are also aligned with the values and the mission of the business as well.
Yeah.
Which is very
And do you have any recommendations for how to find that, or how to connect, not yourself, but how to find employees or a team that does connect with that?
So the first key, your key document that you need is the job description. It's really important to outline that. And when I talk about visions and values, you may not address them. You may not have those all at the moment. So it's just identifying any key ones that come to you based on who you've worked with before and what hasn't worked well and what has worked well in reflection of those team members, and maybe start basing your job description of who you're looking for based on past experiences. But having that job description, and even if it's 6 highlighted bullet points of what their day-to-day activities are going to be, that's a great starting point, because then it's helping you to identify what you can give to somebody else. But also when it comes to the interviewing process, the onboarding process, you've got those there to be able to say, okay, this is what I need you to do, and to make sure that they actually meet the credentials of what's been asked to do. So that's a great starting point to have that in place. And then to ask recommendations from your network. There's great resources like on LinkedIn, there's Indeed.com, which are free resources to look for these key talents. And that's the path that I've done for clients as well, to do it that way. And it's worked very well.
Yeah, that's great. That's really great. And then, okay, so we've talked about kind of the, it's not really emotional part of things, but it feels emotional, I guess, to me, of the, of things being more work and, not really having the time or the tasks taken off of your plate, or whoever's plate is, this person is bringing on to support. What other types of things does delegation bring to a business? Like if everybody in a business is rocking and rolling, they got their delegation, like they're delegating, like a total boss, like what does the business look like as a whole?
So from a CEO's perspective, it has uplifted them. They've gone away from waking up in the middle of the night in sweat saying, okay, I need to do this. Have I done this? Oh, I forgot to do that. To actually waking up ecstatic for the day because they know that they're actually going to do the stuff that they actually have on their list to do. And they can see the progression of tasks being completed. There's more joy. They're creating greater impact because they're able to connect more with their community. They're able to do more outreach with their current clients and other people, that key contacts and relationships they want to build. They're able to spend more time on the stuff that's going to grow and scale their business. And in turn, that gives them a higher return of investment. It helps you in your business to build a sustainable business much faster than doing it on your own, because there's only so many hours in the day. If you're a one band person, there's only so many pies you can dip your finger in. And if you do multiple things, it's going to take you so much longer to do it on your own versus having a trusted support there to help you. So in a sense, if you hire correctly and delegate effectively, you're going to see a high return of investment. So the statistic says that leaders who delegate effectively see an increase of revenue by up to 33% annually.
Wow, that's incredible. Yeah. That's amazing. Okay, I have to ask, I feel like I jumped like 20 feet ahead. Why is delegation so hard? Like, why is it something that it seems like something that most people struggle with. I guess, like, why is that, do you think?
One is because we're so busy. We're doing so many things. We're used to doing a lot of things ourselves. So it takes up a lot of our time that we just kind of assume that the person can get on and do things. We assume that they can read our mind and already know about the business and the 10 years we've been doing it for.
What?
And no. They're a magic unicorn. They just come and do what they want and they do it. So that can be disconnect. It can be that emotional connection that we want to do everything ourselves, that we don't, it's seen as a weakness to ask somebody else for help. You've been told by your coach that you need help, or you know that you're spending less time with your family and friends, and they said, really, you need to bring somebody into the business. You do bring them into the business, but then you often don't give them the stuff that they need to do, and then they exit the business. So it can be really difficult when you've done everything yourself to trust in somebody to do something at the same level as your expectations. So that can be really difficult. And also with delegation, it's the communication piece. It's just so many pieces to put together, because you're great at what you do already. You're then asking me to add another extra piece of managing people. And that's a managerial leadership area. And if you haven't got those traits already, it's something that you have to learn. That skill, you have to upskill to learn it if you have a team, because it's really important that those two are in balance to be able to empower your team and build that dream team. So they are the 3 cycles that I would say that are really difficult for us to adopt.
Yeah, that's so interesting. I actually have been learning the last couple of months something that I guess it kind of surprised me. I mean, obviously, being a good leader is something that I value. And there's an element of delegation that I guess maybe I'm aware of in a different way than I was before, of that it really is a relationship. It's not about just handing something over to somebody and asking them to do it. It really does require a healthy, solid relationship where you're showing up in a way, because I'm finding that it's just as important for that person that you're delegating to be able to say, I have no idea what you're talking about. I have no idea how to do this. I'm game to do it. Like will totally do it, but I do not get it, or like whatever it is. Like there's an element of vulnerability that has to exist for them as well. And that is, really, I mean, that's reliant on them, but it's also reliant on me to create that space where they can be like, actually, can I just get a little clarification on this? And so I don't know, that ties into the leadership aspect that you were talking about, that, and again, I just in a way that it dawned on me, or it is continuing to dawn on me in a way that it hadn't before. So it really is, it's getting clear. I guess what I'm pulling out of this conversation is it's getting clear on what you need, getting clear on your mission and your values, and also, making sure that you are also super clear on and willing to develop those interpersonal relationships as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's not the relationship's not a transaction, a numeral transaction, which is often perceived to be. It's building these relationships. Your number one asset is your staff, your team, not your clients, because without the team there to build it, you won't have those clients. So you want your team to be your number one raving fans. So it needs to be that you build this unit almost like a family that you have working for you, that are the backbone of the business.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's huge. So huge. Okay, this is maybe not a fair question, but do you have any kind of delegation horror stories that you can share?
What can I think of the top of my head? I think the one that I've seen recently is that the issue with, not the issue, but something that reoccurring that I see online is about money over value. So often you can hire, say for example, a virtual assistant or a PA, and you could get them from $2 an hour up to some of those charging $60 an hour. And often what happens is, if you're starting up your business, of course, you're not going to be able to, unless you've got some funding, not going to be able to afford the $60. You're going to be very careful about how you're spending your money. So you may just go for the lower price range. But often what happens is those businesses who have past the startup phase and are growing their business still often go for the lower range because they want to be careful of how they spend their money. But at what cost? Because you can go for the lower rate, and there's nothing wrong with that. But often what you need to take into consideration is that the time you're going to have to spend training this person, because they're entry level, they have zero experience in your business of what they need to do. So you're literally having to handhold day by day, check, review, feedback, follow up, reply, follow up, reply. So it takes a lot of your time and effort to do that. So depending on where your business is, it's really key that you hire somebody based on the support needs you have right now. So if you have the time, dedication, then fine, go for the lower resource. But if you're very time poor already and don't have the energy and time to train somebody, then it's best to go with somebody who's going to be slightly more higher cost, but you're going to get a quicker growth of your business and a higher return of investment much faster. So I've had clients who have hired the lower rate VAs, and then come to me and said, my VA is terrible. They are not listening to me. I've asked them to research 20 companies. They sent me the 20 list, but then they haven't given me an overview, or just given me the top 2 that I should contact and why I should contact them. Or I asked her to book a flight for me, but then she booked the wrong seat and she didn't book my chauffeur and she didn't book the hotel and she lost me money and she booked the wrong location. I was like, okay, that's interesting. So what's your business? What is it you do? And who is it that you hired? And what stage are you in at your business? And then when I unpacked it all, it wasn't actually the virtual assistant's fault. It was the owner of the business fault, because they had hired the wrong person for the stage of where their business is. So when you're hiring somebody in your business, yes, what got you there at that time is great with that person. But as you're growing your business and the stages progress, they may be at that capacity where they can no longer fulfill the duties because their skill set can no longer fulfill the business. And that's where you need to then look for somebody else to come in who's got the experience at that level to take it to the next stage. So that's a big area I've seen where you're hiring. So the way that he put it is, I'm trying to 10x my business, but I have a 2x team.
Yeah. So do you recommend, I mean, I know that you're saying that you can kind of switch, or, that you can hire low maybe at some point in your business and then look to increase that, or to level that up. Is there a part of that maybe it's worth investing in? Because we can afford whatever we set our mind to, and to some degree, right? And so, is there an element of that you would maybe just recommend that they not hire like top tier, where they're paying $100 an hour for somebody, but hire like above kind of what they think initially they're comfortable paying, even to start out with?
It really depends on the type of business, I would, and what it is that they need doing. Because you can have some businesses where I've seen with clients where they've hired a variety of different team members local to them in the UK, and they've hired outsourced overseas at a much lower rate. But the local VA was doing tasks that had a higher return on investment that needed them to produce. They needed the business acumen and understanding of the business, so they hired that person specific for that task, because they're more client facing, they were dealing with proposals, and there was more risk adverse with the task they were doing. And then they had the lower end VAs doing more of the research. A lot of the, it was important tasks, but it was quite time consuming. So a lot of the research, in spreadsheets, that took hours and hours. So then they saw the return on investment with working with them. So I know that hasn't really answered your question, but it depends on the type of business and the type of task that need doing as well.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, essentially, it seems like it's actually just delineating what, I think that we use, and this, I guess, exists in all types of, this exists in career development and all of that kind of stuff, that we get fixated on titles when really, like, I think, or I shouldn't say we get fixated on titles, but we clump a lot of things into the same title that are actually different positions. So like a VA could be like what you were saying, where they're really involved in client development and all of those types of things. And then you have a VA who's doing research, and maybe they're actually two different positions, or two different titles, I guess. And that creates the distinction in cost as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So this goes back to being intentional when you hire, to actually pull out what it is that you need them to do. So you're giving them an indication of what their tasks are going to be. Because often what happens is you start with one task, you give them, oh, they're good at that, let me give them another one, and then they're your social media manager, they're your tech support, you're the customer support, they're kind of doing everything. And when someone's doing everything, the balls are going to get dropped, the quality of the service is not going to be as great, and it can cause a real issue when you're scaling your business for them to uphold it. So it's really key, as you look at it like a standard organization, you've got you as the CEO at the top, you may have an admin department, finance department, legal, marketing and sales. So it's then starting to decipher, okay, where do you sit? What is it that you want to be doing? What's your zone of genius? And what are the other activities that are happening in your business? and what departments do they fall under, and what are the kind of tasks would fall under those different areas, and then start to map out your dream team of in the future of what that would look like, and then start to build that over a period of time, one by one, building out the priority key team member first to support you.
Yeah. Yeah. That's huge. Amazing. Okay. So you do this you come into organizations, you help them just get in lockstep with delegating and making sure that people are doing the right things and all of that type of stuff. What does that look like? So if somebody wanted to work with you, what's kind of the process that you use to get to that point where everything is really smooth and working well?
Yeah, so we have a discussion together, a bottleneck breakthrough call, and we get to know the business. What is the current challenges they're having with their team? Where do they want to go? What's their vision? Some may say that they want to triple their revenue, or they may just want to have more free time. Some say that they're trying to take off Fridays, or that they want to spend more time with their young kid who's a newborn, or they're going on maternity leave, or they're trying to retire and they want to exit the business in the next 5 years and take themselves out of the business. So everyone's desire is quite different. So it's really important to understand what that is. So then we can then map out the realistic side of if that's possible. And then I like to look at what the key bottlenecks are in the business, because often what they think is a bottleneck is actually completely different to what is actually going on in the business. Because if you're someone who's great, maybe you're a coach or you're a wellbeing coach or a nutritional coach, as an example, you may not see all the bottlenecks from an operations perspective because of all the structure and organization that goes into that. You may miss certain key aspects. So there's a lot of things that I will uncover over that is leaking time, that's leaking money, that's building the team to have a poor performance, that is missing key opportunities, they're missing client success opportunities, and they are affecting their reputation of their business. So I go through that like a traffic light system and then highlight what are the red ones that we need to fix ASAP, like today. And then we go through them point by point. And then I create a 3-month plan to say, okay, this is what we need to do together. This is what we need to improve on. And I work with the CEO and maybe the operations manager if they have one, or other team members, so that it's a 360 support to make sure that everyone knows what they should be doing. So that we have, or if you visualize it, I like to use this connotation, is if you have a rowing boat and your team are in this boat together, that everyone's rowing in the same direction. Because before we start together, the CEO is rowing to the finish line, but the team members are going left, right, the boat turns upside down, everyone's in the water, it's complete chaos. And what I get them to is the point where they're seamlessly getting to that finish line together as a unit, as a team, understanding the goals of business, getting them from that A to B point.
That's incredible. And what size businesses do you generally work with?
It's businesses that have an existing team already. So normally, traditionally, a team of 2 or 3. So I have foundations to work from. And it can be businesses who are turning over from 6 figures upwards.
Okay. That's great. And I'm going to put this up on the screen so they can find you at selinajohnson.co.uk. And do you want to tell us about, I've got the link up for your mastermind. Do you want to tell us what that is?
Yeah, so this is a free mastermind that you can sign up to find more about building a high performance team, to get them up to like a 5-10x team, so that you're not having to work every hour of the day and going into your evenings and weekends. So how can you stop yourself from doing everything or firefighting in your business, and getting your team to take ownership of the business, and the ways to identify the changes that you can shift in your business to help with that.
Okay. And is that an ongoing thing, or does it start at certain points, and like, does everybody move, I guess, together as a group that you're working with, or is it more of an individual one-on-one mastermind? So
this is it's what I call a mastermind. It's like a free masterclass, online class that they can watch in their own time.
Got it. Okay.
These traits I'm talking about is tools and resources that you can use long term in your business.
Okay. Amazing. That's such a great resource. Cool. Anything else that we should touch on that you want to share?
Yeah, so I also have a great resource called a course called the Ultimate Delegation System. So if you are fed up of being the bottleneck, you want to delegate like a pro and be able to master it with ease, then take a look at the Ultimate Delegation System. It's been out for the last 3 years. I've recently upgraded it and done more behind the scenes of how I delegate. So I actually have an agency as well, a virtual assistant agency. So I have a team of 18 freelancers. So I show you how I manage them effectively, but also how to find the right virtual assistant, how to onboard them correctly, and also how to empower them to lead them to be able to do the task without you having to be involved in it every day. So it's a great resource for you that you can use long-term in your business.
That's amazing. Yeah, I mean, like you're really up-leveling the VA industry, it sounds like.
Yeah, absolutely. I just love helping people free their time. I'm a sucker for emotion, and when I speak to these clients, I hear them saying, "I'm so overwhelmed. I can't see the wood for the trees. I'm working evenings and weekends. My marriage is on the rocks. There's so many things going on, and I just want to help as many people as I can."
Yeah, awesome. Selina, thank you so much. This was incredible, inspiring, and yeah, I'm so grateful for the work that you're doing. So thank you for sharing it with us.
Thank you.
If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe so you're notified when a new episode is posted. Rate and review this podcast and share it with all of your friends. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope you're leaving with some great things that can help you move from hustle to flow, because I believe in you and your business. Until next time.